They had come in through a waiting room downstairs and climbed up a narrow staircase to the first-floor living area. Another 3 steps led up from the kitchen to a huge, sprawling séjour beyond a sliding Japanese screen door. Venetian blinds diffused the light from windows which ran along the front wall from floor to ceiling. A superstructure of metal cross supports held up a steeply pitched roof. Brick walls were painted white. A bank of computer screens and monitors flickered on a long table pushed up against the windows. Beyond them, 2 low settees defined a living space subdivided by shelves lined with files and books. Raffin sat at one of the computers, searching the internet for background information on Hugues Dauvilliers. They had driven back to Paris in the early evening, and Raffin had directed Enzo to his parking place in an underground car park in the basement of an apartment building in the Rue Saint-Jacques, near the Luxembourg Gardens. His own car was in for repair. They had taken the métro then to Glacière, 1 stop from Corvisart, and 2 from Place d'Italie, names that seemed to be haunting Enzo, and walked to the Rue des Tanneries. Enzo went down another 3 steps leading to a metal gallery overlooking the old warehouse storage area. Large interior windows opening into a bedroom immediately opposite made Enzo feel like a voyeur. He could see pale lilac sheets thrown back from a large bed, discarded clothes draped over a chair. He assumed it was Charlotte's bedroom. Late evening sunshine streamed in through a pitched glass roof above a second gallery, and when Enzo looked down into the well of the space below, he saw that it had been transformed into an indoor garden, filled with potted plants and gravelled walkways. The constant tumbling of a small fountain filled the whole space with its gentle cadence. Upholstered garden furniture sat around a low teak table at the centre of the garden. It was an extraordinary oasis in the heart of the city. "It's where I interview my clients." Charlotte's voice startled him, and he turned to find her at his side. She leaned on the rail. "Good feng shui. It relaxes them. It relaxes me. It's almost a therapy in itself." She pointed out video cameras mounted on metal struts that crisscrossed the space overhead. "I quite often record my sessions so that I can replay them later." She nodded towards monitors next to where Raffin was still working at the computer. "It means I never have to take notes." She paused. "Where are you staying tonight? At the studio?" "Probably." She lowered her voice a little. "I have a spare room here." And Enzo thought that no matter how much he was attracted to Charlotte, he hated this subterfuge. "You'd better come and have a look at this," Raffin called over his shoulder, almost as if he had heard her, and they went back up to the séjour. Enzo drew a chair in beside him. "Most of the stuff about Dauvilliers is pretty well buried, unlike Utopique, but I'm beginning to get a picture of him." He rubbed his hands enthusiastically and started pulling up sites he had already visited. "We knew from the old servant at the chateau that he went to the Prytanée Nationale Militaire de la Flèche. Apparently this was to prepare him for the competitive exam you have to sit to gain entry to the École Polytechnique." He glanced at Enzo, and must have realized that an explanation was required for the dumb foreigner. "That's the grande école that trains the top engineers required for public administration. Seems he came out top of his year at the lycée and won the concours général for maths." He pulled up another site. "Of course, he had no difficulty getting into the Polytechnique. He went on to become one of the top students of his year and was selected on graduation for the Corps des Mines, which is pretty much the crème de la crème of the engineering cadre." He ran his finger down the screen until he found what he was looking for. "But he turned that down to follow in the footsteps of a pretty famous predecessor, Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. Apparently, if you're smart enough to be offered a place in the Corps des Mines, you're smart enough to gain direct access to ENA, which is what he did." He turned eyes filled with light towards Enzo and Charlotte. "Now, here's the thing. Each period of study at ENA is called a promotion. Each promotion is given a name by its students, who choose it during a 2-week bonding holiday in the Vosges. In Dauvilliers' case, his